Hey, so I'm going to be here today telling you guys how I've been studying for nursing school and how I've been getting the grades that I've been getting. I've been getting pretty good grades, so this is just a little tips just to help you guys with whichever. This could work for nursing school or it could work for other classes, I'm sure of it. So basically, how I start off studying, it all depends on how you're going to prepare for the class. And it also, a lot of times, it depends on the class. Like in the beginning, because okay, so as a nursing student, you're going to be super busy, so you probably can't prepare like this every single time. But so before class, usually I like to read, and for my class, it's like a lot of like technology based, so they have PowerPoints beforehand. So what I do is I will look at the PowerPoint and then read the book, and if they mention something in the PowerPoint that I see in the book, but it's a little bit more explanation in the book, I like to just write it right onto the PowerPoint. Like under the PowerPoint, you can write notes, and a lot of times I'll put like book, and then I'll put underneath I'll write, oh, this is from the book, and then write the whatever finding I found. And then when I go back, it kind of helps. So basically, yeah, before I prepare, I like to read and take notes, and this really depends on the class. So some classes you'll find out like you don't have to do all that reading beforehand, but it's advised to do it. But if not, if you don't have the time, you don't always have to. But certain classes is kind of almost so you can follow along, because I've noticed like when I don't do it beforehand, I can't really follow along as well. So it helps, but if you can't, then you just make up for it afterwards. But yeah, so basically starting out, you just got to do that. And then also, when you need to do this questionnaire, another good thing you could do is this questionnaire called a VART questionnaire. It also lets you know if you're a visual learner, auditory, and so it kind of like helps guide you in the pathway that you should go. And it actually lists like different things you could do, which could be very helpful. But I will put the link below of where that is. So but okay, and so after you get through preparing, then you're in class. So then that depends on your type of learning style. So you can either, some professors let you record them, some don't at my school. So if you are an auditory learner, like you could just record it while you're in class and just while you're maybe at the gym, or if you're just sitting around, you could just listen to it or driving around. And you could do that. I started trying to record, but like I never have time, and it's like who wants to listen to the same, well, I personally don't want to listen to the same thing I heard for like 2 to 3 hours again. Like so that doesn't work for me. I'm not really an auditory listener. I'm more of a visual person. So yeah, that didn't work for me. But for me, when I'm in class, I just take the power while they're talking. If I hear them kind of like an inflection in their voice, I'm like, oh, they must think this is important. So I'll type it down below in the notes portion of the PowerPoint. And also sometimes I'll add it to the actual PowerPoint. Like if they put a word and I don't know the definition, but they explain it during class, then I'll define it on the PowerPoint. So when I go back, I'm like, oh, okay, I know what this is. So that's been very helpful for me. And then some people before class, they like to actually print out the PowerPoint slides so you have a paper instead of like just digitally typing. But I type faster than I write, I feel like sometimes. So I think that for me that's helpful. But I know a lot of my classmates, they will print out everything and then just write on there adding different things that the teacher says. And then also some people are really prepared, so they'll go through the whole PowerPoint and literally write everything by hand before the class. So if that works for you, you can try it out. But for me, what I do for as while I'm in class taking notes, I just listen and type out anything I hear that they say is important directly onto the PowerPoint. So then when I go back, I can reference it. And then also I'll have like maybe stuff from the reading that's also there, so it can all help me study. And so that's what in class. And then after class, now you have to study for the exam. So for me, what I do is I like to go to tutoring. At my school, they have tutors, and the tutors are all kids who, or kids, adults, I should say, students who actually took the class already, and they did really well. And so they're tutoring and letting us know kind of like what to expect on a test. Because, like when you don't know a teacher, you don't know exactly what to study because you're like, oh my gosh, what do they look for? So it kind of helps having tutors who actually been in your shoes not too long ago, so they can kind of guide you in the way that these teachers like to test. And also they help with breaking down kind of almost layman's terms of what each topic means. So for me, like especially pathophysiology, it's like pathophysiology / pharmacology class. For me, I have to like go to tutoring. It helps so much. Like I've been getting A's consistently because like they break it down to the point where you're like, instead of just a surface level, for me, I need to go like deep in and know exactly why it's happening, not just like the definition, because then it kind of makes more sense. It like the pattern makes more sense in my head. So you can go to tutoring, and then and it depends on the class, because some classes is kind of hard to go to tutoring for, because like if it's just definitions, like for my health assessment class, he tests more on your definitions, like wise, like terms and terminology, besides just actual assessment itself. So it's kind of hard to get actual tutoring on that. So that's also going to be a factor in if you need tutoring or not. And for as how I study, so for my health assessment class, we have two portions. We have the actual lecture, and then we have the clinical, where we're actually doing our skills. And for me, I use this book. It's called the Health Laboratory Manual. And it's been really helpful for me because it gives you like the different terms. It gives you little quizzes. So like they'll have like the terms that you need and quizzes. So that helps me a lot because then I could just go back and study. And then also another thing you could use is Quizlet if you're like a flashcard type person. And that could be very helpful. You could just make little flashcards digitally, or you can go old school, get some flashcards and just write it out, whichever helps you the best. But yeah, so that's what I use for that. And then also I'm a visual learner, so I will get for if when we were studying the heart, I printed out this, so it's like the colors. I can understand what's the flow, like going to the superior vena cava, so then I can remember how everything flows, and it helped me tremendously. And then also sometimes you can print out like a blank one if you're a visual learner, and then just write it all out, and then it'll definitely be in your brain. So then when you go to the test, it all makes sense. And for me, also what I do is I like to make charts. So for me, especially the meds, oh my gosh. So there's so many meds, and it's like, oh my gosh, how do I like get them all like worked out? So for me, I like to make a chart. I make like a little chart. And this one was like in the beginning when we were doing PPIs and basically like if you have esophageal reflux disease. So I put like the class, like what kind it is, the drug, the mechanism of action, that's what MOA, side effects, adverse effects, and the nurse implications. So because I know my teacher loves to like go back to the fact that you're the nurse, and what are you going to do to make sure your patient's okay, or what's something you need to warn your patient about, because that's really important. Like I think that's why they're so adamant about like you knowing what the implications are for nursing, because you don't want to harm your patient. You want to make sure you're teaching them correctly, which I think is good. So yeah, that's what I use for my medications. And also I use this. It is for nursing if you're actually in nursing school. So like they're preparing us for the NCLEX, because we have to study for a year, and then we're gonna take the test. And this book's actually been helping. Like I've been going and looking at the different sections. They have different sections like maternity nursing, med surg, and like psychiatry nursing. And like I go in and I do some practice tests in here, like little quizzes, and it's been helping me. So it could possibly help other people, but that's just like an extra thing you could do. But yeah, and also what helps is if you're like, you can do like a group tutoring, but like group, you just go all in, like you and your classmates get together and just study together. If you have a group and you can study together, that can help as well. It depends on the person. So for me, this is how I do it. So I will go with my friends, my classmates, since we all kind of have similar studying styles. So we'll talk and like we'll go through the whole PowerPoint, and we'll just kind of quiz each other like, oh, do you know this, that? And so then kind of like you'll remember it. For me, I like remember if I heard it once. Sometimes I can like pull it from my brain like, hey, I heard this. What was that again? So that helps me on the test. And so just hearing it and talking to people, it really helps for me for it to stick in. So being social and like constantly talking about it with the group, it helps me. So I'll study like that with my friends, and then I have to also study by myself. So I go back home, and then I literally just go all over it and like basically like teach myself like, okay, so this happens because, so I almost sound crazy. I'm like talking to myself out loud, but I mean, whatever helps, right? If I'm getting an A, whatever. So that's what I do. So I have to come home and just teach it to myself and I try to go through each PowerPoint or go through my notes. Like sometimes I'll also type up my notes. So like for this one, I did like infectious diarrhea and different diseases. So I'll just like make little notes like that and like the important things and then highlight what's in red. Highlighters. That's another thing that's going to be your friend. Highlighters. So I have this like little highlighter situation. It has like different ones and this is like a pen with a highlighter. So highlighting for me, I'm a visual person. So like if I bold it, like when I'm taking the test, I literally can like think about that color. Like, oh yeah, like I remember how to bold it, and it helps me. So for me, but yeah. So that's basically what I do. And if you're also just a tidbit, if you are in nursing school, it's really helpful for when you're making care plans and whatnot to have like a book that like the nursing diagnosis book. For me, I actually got it from my library, so then I don't have to I didn't have to buy it. But yeah, I'm sure your library will have like a numerous amount because mine does. It has like different types, so that also can help. FYI, if you have to make care plans, that's like a bonus tip just in case someone is in nursing school. So yeah, I hope you guys learned something, and if I come up with new skills and I see that it's helping me anymore, I will definitely make another video or update you guys in my vlogs or just make a whole video depending on how much it is. So thank you for watching. Please like, comment, subscribe, or share this information, share the video, or just share the information with other people. I just want everyone to do great in school. So thank you for watching. Bye.